Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the mystical world of spreadsheets. This is Dr. John Jack Tiani. I'm pleased to be here today with you. We are going to focus on charting in Excel. So today we are going to learn about how to create a basic chart. We're going to talk about using different methods of creating a chart. Also, the different types of charts, how to format charts, applying styles and colors, changing the data source, selecting and then changing the data source, and creating and customizing spark lines. So obviously this is not all there is to charting. There is a lot more. This provides you an introduction, some visuals. As always, the only way to learn Excel is to actually do it hands-on. So while I'll be going through my notes in PowerPoint with a lot of visuals that I have taken from Excel, I encourage you to watch this video once in its entirety to get a feel for charting, and then go back and watch it again, maybe one or more times, and pause at every step where there's an exercise or something to be tried, and then try it for yourself in Excel. This is the only way to reinforce these learnings and actually retain some of the information. So I hope everybody who's watching this video will be able to do that. Okay, there's several different charts. A chart is a visual representation of numeric data. It compares data, right, from different trends, patterns, and it helps people make informed decisions. Here's a table that summarizes from your textbook, actually, the different types of charts, common chart types. There's a column chart, there's a bar chart, there's a pie chart, a line chart, and a combination chart. We'll take the first one here. A column chart displays all the values vertically, visually. The height representing the value, the taller column, and the larger value. The shorter column is the smaller value. And then the different categories might be displayed on the axis going across, right? So similarly, there's a bar chart, there's a pie chart. Pie chart, I love, it looks like a pizza. It's a wonderful, wonderful chart, my favorite chart. And so on. So you have to use the right chart to convey the right information as you're preparing a presentation. So how do you create a basic chart? Well, there's a 10-point step or set of steps. You need a data point. A data point is an individual value in a cell that is plotted in a chart. A data series is a group, right? A group of related data points that originate in columns in a worksheet, right? And those can be plotted. Data can be plotted on two axes. The horizontal axis, also called the x-axis, you remember from math. This provides a frame of reference, right? Left to right. The vertical axis provides a frame of reference going top to bottom, right? The y-axis. The category axis is the axis that displays the labels, right? The value axis is the axis that displays the incremental numbers to identify approximate values. So knowing which data points are going to be on the x versus the y axis is very important. Now here's how you create a basic chart. This figure illustrates the different chart objects that we just discussed. To create a chart, you select it from the charts group on the Insert tab. A column chart is used to compare values, right? If you look at these, they're used to compare, you can compare the values across the categories. The height representing the value of the individual data point. So in this case, you can see computer systems analysts have the most amount of estimated jobs by 2026. Next, we're going to look at a clustered column chart. Clustered column chart compares basically groups or clusters of columns side by side. Very valuable to show quick comparisons across data series, right? And very effective to compare many data points across different categories, or among categories rather. Here's a stacked column chart, right? It shows a relationship of individual data points to the whole category. A 100% stacked column chart converts individual data points into percentages of the total value. What a 100% chart does is just shifts these colors, right? But the height is going to be the same. But if the height's going to be the same, then all of the data points are percentages, right? They have to be, because they all have to add up to 100, right? In certain instances, you might want to use a 100% stacked column chart to show the differences between the orange or the blue or the gray in this example, right? When a chart is created, the chart is displayed in the worksheet where the data is located. With the chart selected, the cut and paste commands can be used to move the chart from one location to another. You can actually move the chart to a different sheet. It can be placed in a separate worksheet. You can call it a chart sheet, you know, however you like to do it. Definitely key up your questions, because at the end of the presentation, I will take all your questions and we can review things again. So if you have any questions going along, just take notes. We'll come back to it. This figure shows the move chart dialog boxes and its options, right? You can actually move by using this feature. The size of the chart can be adjusted, right, by this sizing handles, pointers, and so on. Just like you adjust any other picture or an object. The size can be adjusted to fit in a range. To ensure the chart is appropriately sized, you have to select the chart, set the height and width. You can resize the chart as well. Now, if you don't know, many of us don't know, we know we need to have a chart. We know we need to create a chart, but we don't know which type of chart that might effectively represent the data. You can use the recommended charts command. This is awesome command, right? Or quick analysis. It'll take the data that you have and it'll try to guess on which chart you might want or might look the best or might be more revealing. This is a great tool. The recommended charts is a great tool for a learning point of view, right? You can keep using these on different data sets to learn, and eventually you start to get the handle of which charts are best for what usage. After a chart has been created, you can decide that the data would be better represented for a different chart. You can change that. Once you create a chart, you're not fixed with it. You can actually go and change the chart types. I do that all the time. Like when I did my PhD, there was one set of data points on my report, and it took 6 months to get the right one to get everybody satisfied, all the evaluators of my paper. And so I kept changing how the data looked like in the chart in order to have the maximum impact, and I finally got it right. So you don't always have to create something the first time and get it perfect. It'll never be perfect the first time. You have to modify it based on the needs. There are other methods. So when a range of adjacent cells has been selected, for example, right, in a table or in a worksheet, you can position the pointer over that range, and the quick analysis is displayed bottom right of that selected area. So you can actually do that quick analysis just by selecting the data points. Excel even has the latest versions of Excel has a great new feature called the new ideas feature, and it provides intelligent analysis to take a look at your data set and recommend all of these different types of charts. It's really neat. It can do multiple at the same time. A bar chart is similar to a column chart, except it's sideways, right? It compares the values across categories. A bar chart displays values using horizontal bars, where the column charts go up and down, right? How about a line chart? Line chart's really cool. You see a lot of this when they talk about the coronavirus and the number of people affected and so on. You'll see on the news they're using line charts a lot, right? And you can see growth really quickly, right? You can see trends. Lines show trends really quickly. This is, on the news quite a bit. Line charts used to display lines connecting data points to show trends. Pie chart shows each data point as a proportion of the whole data series, right? Again, I love pie charts. They remind me of pizza pies, pizza that I can't have any, that I shouldn't have had before. Now I really can't have because I can't go out to eat as often. So I have to make my own pizzas. Combination chart. This is cool. So you can combine. You can have a chart that combines two chart types, like a column and a line. Here's a column that shows a line as well, overseeding it. So you can see the trend, because without the line, the trend might not be apparent. Now it's apparent when you have 3 data points like this, but if you have hundreds, the line really might help. Here's a scatter chart. An X and Y scatter chart shows a relationship between 2 numeric values and all of those coordinates. So you can start to see data points this way. You can create different charts. There's more charts like area charts, surface charts, radar charts, histograms, right? We use histograms in statistics a lot. I'll let you go over what each of these are in your textbook or review this video at a later time. Now, I want to focus on chart elements, right? A chart element is a component that completes or clarifies the entire chart. Some chart elements, like titles, they should be included in every chart, right? While others are optional. You may not need data labels all the time. You may not want data labels. So here are the different elements that you can customize. You can have a chart title. You can have a chart area, which is the container of the whole chart. You can have data labels that are descriptive. You can have a data table right next to the chart. You can have grid lines. Sometimes that's helpful when there's a lot of data. You can have a legend. You can have a plot area. You can have a trend line. And these are all the ones labeled that I just discussed. To add or format an element, select that chart that you have already created. Use contextual tabs, design and format. And then there are 3 icons that are displayed in the right of the chart. The top icon is a chart element. Clicking that icon will display the menu shown on the left of the figure. Pointing to the right of the chart element, or right of the chart element name, will display a triangle, and clicking that triangle will display a submenu. So you have to basically try this, okay? This is not going to make sense on just looking at the slide, okay? You have to pause the video here and go and try it on a chart. Otherwise, this is useless, okay? But I just want to go over it so you know where it is, where to find it, and how to do it. Now you can do it, okay? Clicking the More option in the Chart Elements menu displays a task pane on the right. You get another different pane, right? The options shown in the task pane are based on the selected chart element. The quick layout is used to apply predefined layouts, right? You're going to have everything predefined for you. You can actually go and use these, right, instantly. Based on the data source that you've selected and the structure of your data, Excel will determine where to start and how to increment the values when you create the chart. However, it may not do it correctly. It'll guess. Excel does a wonderful job at guessing, but it doesn't always get it the way you want. Okay, if it's a simple chart, it tends to get it right all the time. If it's a little bit more complicated, you have to go adjust it and make it better. Similar to editing a chart title, axis title can also be entered and edited, right? Other attributes of axes can be modified. So you've got to go and open these dialog boxes and look at all these options to learn, okay, and practice. Your assignment, your homework assignment will reinforce some of it, but not all of it, right? I'm not going to make you do every single one on an exam or something, but you kind of need to know where things are. So you got to try at least once, all right? You can add a data label, like I mentioned earlier, which is a descriptive test that goes right above the data, that goes above the data point. The format data label task pane is used to customize the data labels. Where do you want them placed? How do you want them, etc. When a multiple series chart is created, the legend displays providing a key. So you can have a legend on the side. You can have grid lines, as I mentioned. You can format the chart area by doing and the plot area as well. You can change the color of the background of the chart and so on and so forth. Now, this is really important, and Excel, Word, and PowerPoint have these features. We call it the alt text feature, okay? Unfortunately, we have a lot of people who do great work using some of these tools like Excel, and they are, have certain disabilities like vision or cognitive impairments, okay? Adding an alt text over a chart provides an alternative text, which is a description that displays when the pointer is moved over a chart. So in case people have trouble reading your chart, right, because of a disability that you may or may not know, right, or may not need to know, the alt text actually gives a text that people can read if they hover over the chart. And this is really important for, being effective and being inclusive of everyone, all of the members, that we try to share our work with, our PowerPoint, our Excel, and so on. Right? By selecting a data point in the chart, you can format it differently, right? Sometimes you want to format one slice of the pie, for example, differently. You can do that as well in the case of a pie chart or a column chart or so on. What is a chart style? Where a chart style is a collection of formatting and controls and the colors of the chart area, plot area, and the data series. So a chart style already has that baked in, and you can select the right style, almost like styles in Word or PowerPoint that you'll soon see when we cover PowerPoint. So it's a collection, right? Again, collection of chart area, plot area, data series, formatting, and controls. Here you can see in the top figure of this PowerPoint slide, the upper figure here shows the results of clicking the chart styles, right, to the right of the chart. And the lower figure then shows the chart style gallery that displays from the different chart styles on the Design tab. Now, sometimes you create the chart, you do all the styles, and everything works. And then you get new data. For example, you get data from a different year. If we were doing that example on the job openings, right, that we did a few slides ago, maybe you got a different data set, right, from a different year, like 2016. And you need to change the data set, but keep everything in the chart the same. To change the data source, you can click the Select Data command on the Design tab to display the Select Data Source dialog box, right? So you get this box, and now you can select a different source or modify the source of data. Remember that the data in the rows are used to create the categories, and the data in the columns are used to create the data series. You can switch the data used to create the horizontal and the vertical axis by giving a different perspective to the chart. Now, when I do this, sometimes it doesn't come out right. Okay, but occasionally I find when I do the flip, the chart looks better. So it gives you a way to toggle back and forth, right? Converting X to Y and Y to X. I hardly use that, but it's there. It's nice. Then I don't have to do a lot of work. I can just swap. A chart filter controls which data, the series, and categories are displayed in a chart. By default, all the data that's selected here is to create the chart is used to construct the data series. You can then filter further by using chart filters. Maybe you don't want all of the data, you want some data, right? You can do that as in our job applications or job posting example. Maybe you want to select everybody on this list except software developers. So you can uncheck software developers because it's one of your categories. Next, we move to the final discussion of this morning, which is spark lines. What's a spark line? Well, a spark line is a small line, column, or a win-loss chart contained in a single cell. Check this out. If I have a test, right? If your test scores are test 1, test 2, test 3, and you went from 90 to 80 to 95, then your spark line, the trend looks like going down and up, right? And that's how it shows it in a column. It's like a chart in a column, a little mini chart in a column. Pretty neat, right? I can easily do this on all of your exam grades and stuff and your assignments and just trend it out like this to see if people were doing better towards the later part of the semester or worse, right? So these spark lines are used to represent a simple visual illustration of simple data, basically, okay? As you can see. To insert a spark line, on the Insert tab, click the spark line, right? When you do Insert, you click a spark line to display the spark line dialog box. You'll get a dialog box like this, and you will be able to insert it, and it'll give you some tools, Sparkline tools. So after you insert it, the Sparkline Tools to Design tab can display with options what options you have and to customize the Sparkline. So this concludes my notes of charts. I'm going to stop the video here and then move to questions. Give me 1 second.